Hello, lovely people. Is anyone out there? Oh, this is so good. Queen, what's should? You know what's good? Lots. I'm very hungry. That's the only thing that's not good. Hey, Sheridan. Just waiting for people to pile in. And also agonizing over my webcam as I do. I hope I'm not making anyone seasick. I think we're going to have to leave it. Can you see that my apartment is starting to look like somebody who's moving? What should I be when I grow up? A queen! Hey, Melissa. And Rachel. I've got boxes. These shelves are empty. That's pretty empty. I'm frowning, but I'm not sad about it. With you guys while we wait for people. Hey, went to the dentist yesterday and I'm getting this. They had to pull a tooth. So that's getting fixed. You love my style. Thank you. Not Naomi. I don't know what your real name is, but thank you. Hey, Leah and Rosie. Rosie is a new patron as of today. Well, she joined the Discord today. So, hey, Cassie. Hey, Jesse. Got 20 people in the chat. Sorry if things look messy. I've got like the only books I kept out of my book from my bookshelf. Hey, everyone. Yay. You want my pink chair? Wayfair. Hair tutorial. I don't know how to do my own hair. I appreciate that question just because of the implication that you think my hair looks good. The aesthetic in my house is goals. Oh, thank you. I mean, it's starting to be packed up right now. I'm really curious to see as to what it's going to look like when I'm in a really big apartment, which, so long as everything goes okay with this apartment that Jake and I are applying for. Let me send him a reminder really quick before he like falls asleep. Because we need to hold that apartment. Love you. I'm saying okay. No more being on my phone. I just realized I just had a moment of panic that like because I worked in property management for 5 years, so I know that like if you just stall for a day, you could lose the apartment that you love. First time seeing you live, Jacqueline. Yay! I'm glad you could make it. And Marcy thinks my hair looks good. Generic says, yeah, it does. Thank you, you guys. Hey, Anna. Be Kind art behind the pink chair. It's Target. I don't know if they still have it, but I didn't get it too terribly long ago. I mean, within the past year. It was after my first revamp of my my set. My outfit I got from my friend's line, her fashion line. It's called Paris Michelle. I've been looking for really cute like loungewear sets. And after I went online and shopped, then she posted a picture of herself modeling this exact outfit. I don't know if I want to show the bottoms because I'm like, but the bottoms are like almost like little slacks. And so I was like, okay, you got me. You're a good model. I want that. I've liked living in DC. I don't love it so much right now. Hey, Bridget. The new apartment will be in Savannah. Hey, August. How do you start learning about marketing? In my case, it was just something that became part of my duties in every job, just a little bit here and there. Yeah, nobody sent me any questions. I posted on Twitter. Maybe I should have posted on my community tab. That probably would have reached more people, um, to email me questions so that I'm not trying to keep up with the live chat. But I mean, this is a pretty small group. Hey, from the UK. Hey, Clara. And hi, Beza. Oh, yay, Cassie. Hey, Crazy Me in Central America. New apartment. Yeah, I'm going to be moving. Possibly very, very soon, to Savannah. So, and I'm moving in with Jake. So we're going to have a much bigger place. Where did I go to find applications? Not sure what you mean by that. If you could clarify, I could probably answer. My job title is Marketing and Relationships Specialist, which means that I have a dual role. I'm a recruiter and I do the marketing for our company. So thank you. When is it time to move on from a career field? When you don't enjoy it. I mean, if you're asking that, I would give it a little bit of time, and decide, like, I would give it a good 6 months of deciding whether or not it brings you any joy, or is it just your job that you don't like? Is it your career path that you don't like, or is it your job that you don't like? Okay, Cassie, go spend time with her if you want, if that's what she's there for. You can always watch this later. Leah says, okay, so you're thinking of going from communication and content to digital marketing. I mean, technically, communications can oftentimes overlap. It's not always within the digital marketing space, but a lot of like our content writers, content strategists, content whatevers are mostly within the digital marketing space. Most marketing these days is considered within the realm of digital marketing. Of course, you still have some things like print advertisement, and that's pretty much it, like marketing collateral. But everything else is becoming digital. So there's a lot of like courses online. That's what I do. I go to platforms online. You guys maybe saw today that I had a sponsorship in my video today with Skillshare, but I do, like, legitimately, that's what I'm doing with one of Skillshare's competitors, so I shouldn't mention it. But because we have because it's paid for through my company, but that's what I'm doing. Like when I said that in my integration today, like I meant it. That's how I'm building this half of my position within my company. The marketing side is by going online and learning classes and like learning these things through classes online that I'm not going to get any sort of like college degree from, but it's going to get me those jobs. It's like the experience with it. Applications for a job. Do you do Indeed or LinkedIn? Whenever I am looking for a job, or honestly, like if you're having a shitty day at work, go on LinkedIn jobs and look at the easy apply ones and just like make sure your LinkedIn is always up to date and just apply. I know that for me on a bad day at work, it will alleviate the stress and anxiety if I put out some applications, even if nothing comes of it. Powerful is tapping into your network. And I will say DC is really great about that. People in DC are kind of like all about their work. They're very like career focused. And so, but they tend to be very good about wanting to help people out. That is one thing I really love about DC. So letting people know that you're looking for a job, and especially somebody who might be, in your field or adjacent to your field or might know somebody in your field, then it's important to get that word out too. I've helped a lot of people get jobs that are friends of mine, or I've helped previous employers who are looking for somebody to fill a role. It's a lot of times it's about who you know. Sorry guys, like the questions are integrated into the chat, so I kind of have to bounce around. My most stressful time on YouTube was when I had a hate mob sent on me. I can only tell you how I did it. I think you gotta, in my opinion, you gotta think in terms of like climbing a ladder. So I was unemployed for about 18 months, save for like 5 months in the middle of that. And I think I've talked about this in a few different live streams, but I just looked for like front desk jobs. Or I had my degree. My degree is in early childhood education, so I also looked for like, not like teaching jobs, like pre-K teaching. Like, no, that's not going to work. But yeah, looking for places where you might have some upward mobility, or you have to, oftentimes too, I'm kind of answering a different question at this point, but promote yourself. DC is really big about that too, is that you promote yourself by changing jobs, changing employers. Samantha, ask your question if you wouldn't mind. I'm trying to keep up with this chat. Molly is an English major working in digital marketing. Yeah, everybody works in marketing, I feel like, these days. My hair, I hate it. I hate it. How do I make it kind of livable by adding extensions right here? But I don't feel like I get it to look good most days. It's looking decent. I realize that I really need to zhuzh up the back whenever I want it to look decent, because I really like teased the back for this last video and I loved my hair. Is Spanish my first language and do I speak it fluently? No, it's not my first language. Some people say I'm fluent. I'm not. I took it in school from like 5th or 6th grade on. I was Spanish club president. I took Spanish 4. I taught Spanish to kindergartners. My mom's whole side of the family is Mexican, and because my dad does not speak Spanish, we didn't speak it in the home. And so I've never felt comfortable, like fluent. I can carry on, like if I practice it, I can carry it on a conversation, but yeah, any sort of, YouTube is great for learning marketing, Melissa says. I think any sort of like business venture or social media, like how you learn to promote yourself, really teaches you the basics of marketing, at least branding. An interview with YouTube? That's amazing, Blue. I have no idea. I've never interviewed with them. How do you have confidence in the workplace? That's a place that I struggle. I have this kind of strange like workplace anxiety where my personality is different. I'm more introverted at work. And honestly, if for me, if I'm having worries like that, well, for one, it's probably a good idea to do more team building events and exercises and stuff like that when they're offered. A lot of times it's easy to be like, no, I just want to go home. I don't want to go out for drinks, or I don't want to go to this networking or this convention or whatever. They suck. But spending that time outside of the office with people can really help you feel more comfortable with them. And then the other thing too is like, I'll just speak to my my manager and just tell him how I'm feeling. Like, I don't know where I stand. That's a conversation I've had with him at least twice. Like, I don't know where I stand. I don't know what people think of me, etc. So, hey, Alicia. Obviously, due to cussed out and blocked Amber on Twitter over the Rachel Oates. Never thought he would treat. Wait. Skeptic sheet. This may or may not be the same dude who cussed out and blocked Amber on Twitter over the Rachel Oates Gabby stuff months ago. Never thought he would treat me like that. I missed what happened before that, but that's really funny you should say that, because for fun last night, I went back and I was watching Girl Man's podcast episodes. And the last one I watched was that episode. I can't believe he talked to people like that. That's crazy, as much as people respect him. That's funny you say that, Beza, because I want to do the same thing. I would love to be, if it gets to the point that I'm doing this full time, I would want to get some sort of licensing in, of course, I wouldn't be able to go back to school and get any sort of license to be a therapist, but life coaching is a pretty similar thing that people can get licenses in a pretty decent amount of time. So if I get to give up one of my jobs, I would like to do that, and then build a client base, because you can't bank on YouTube forever. What made me want to be a YouTuber? I didn't. I simply wanted to. I was interested in YouTube. And kind of like the goings on of YouTube. I really liked the Vlog Squad, and I liked Gabby, but kind of was like really confused about her her handling of drama. I wouldn't say that I liked Trisha, but I found her to be interesting. And because all of these situations were interesting to me, I wanted to talk to people about it. But I am 35. I was 34 at the time. And nobody my age or anybody around me really knew how to have those conversations with me, except for my sister. She's awful with her phone. So I decided to put out a video or start making a couple of videos. And it was just fun, I think, to get comfortable in front of a camera, and then to do editing. That was a little bit of fun to play with. And then it just happened. Because wanting to be a YouTuber, I wanted to do that 10 years ago, or more. And people have always known what I would do. So it was really the time that I didn't mean to, that it happened. How would I go about marketing myself, building a resume? When you're looking for a new job for a job in a new field. Okay. That's interesting you say this, because asked this because I did this for Jake to help him land his job that he's in now. He was in a job that he hated. He was basically doing just a lot of manual labor and not making as much money as he would like. But he was also taking on responsibilities that were above his pay grade. So for one, I would advise you to pay attention to whether or not you are doing any tasks that are above your title or outside of your title. If you have the time to, I would start taking them on. And in terms of building a resume, say you're starting at scratch and you're I don't even know where to start. What I would do is go online, look up job descriptions for your job title, and also look up job descriptions for the title that you want to have. And I would just pick the bullet points that apply to you and what you've done and your experience. And that's, I think, a great place to start, and do that for every job that you've had, that you put on your resume. Here's just a tip. If you've started to build a career, say marketing we've been talking about, if you have been building a career, and so you've had a marketing job, or Deshaun here, and keeps giving me these tips. Thank you. You really don't have to do this. You don't even ask anything. So it's this, you're just this person who's just so nice. I'm number one. Thank you. But what I was saying is that if you say you did a digital marketing internship, and then you had a junior marketing analyst job, and then you had a regular marketing analyst or marketing associate job, or and you kind of had a few jobs and you're trying to build your career, anything before you've done started your real professional career, don't put that on your resume. Don't put that on your LinkedIn. If you had a job at Subway, Starbucks, grocery store, take that off. Let me see. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sad that it depends on who you know, but it makes sense to me at the same time, because Networking is important. It's sad how networking works in like the entertainment industry and like YouTube. That's weird because then you have this like weird mesh of like friendship slash using people slash climbing and stuff like that. But just knowing people is good. I think what's unfortunate is how much the workplace, or at least when you're interviewing, values extroversion, because we all have to act like we're way more extroverted than we are, I think, when we go to interview. And that's just an unfortunate side of the job. But I was at least able to bring that up to my workplace, that when I am at work, I do tend to retreat a little bit, and that's just how I work better. Am I open for collabs? I'm not entirely sure just yet, because I am trying to hone my channel to a certain type of channel. I'm trying to be very specific about how I do my channel. And I've tried to collab before. If you know, you know. And clearly I did not know the ins and outs of everything that one should do to prepare for a collab and to do it right. So, the Girlmance podcast, that I don't mind so much because it's a much smaller channel. So like we collabed with Justin Payne, and that was a lot of fun. I would love to bring other people on. Footless Joe is somebody that I've talked about a couple of times. She watches my videos. She's so sweet. And I know that she's got some videos around purity culture. And actually Rachel Oates does too. And Footless Joe wanted to do something. So I've thought about asking her to come on the podcast, but that's on hiatus for now. Yeah, I had that whole moment with Gabby. It's something that I can go a day without thinking about it, but I don't think I can go 2 consecutive days without it crossing my mind. It was that significant. Okay. Ask my advice on how to keep it positive when you're waiting between an interview and finding out whether or not you got the job. You're waiting to hear back from 7 places and it's killing you. Okay, I'm going to give you some really freaking annoying advice, but it's so, so true. And I give it to people and it helps them sometimes. And Jake gave it to me and it irritated me in the moment, but it was true. It's kind of this like, it's almost like a destiny, fate kind of thing, but like whichever job you're meant to have is what you're going to get. So, for instance, I interviewed with a company a couple months ago, thinking that remote was not going to be an option for my job currently, but I want to move. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and take this interview for this remote job. The company seemed great. I interviewed, it went well at first, and then I didn't get it. And I was so super bummed. And what I've told my friends and people I care about, people I talk to all the time, is that if the answer is no, first of all, because I feel like that's part of the anxiety, right? Is what if the answer is no? Then that means that you weren't meant to have that job. Like that means that they don't want you. So you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want you. And that means that something better is coming. And thankfully for me, things worked out with my current company and they're letting me go remote. So it is good that I didn't get my hopes up too high about that. And that, they ended up passing on me. I'm not the best at like, how do you help with the anxiety of waiting? I mean, I guess one thing you can do is you can continue to apply, because if you're worried that all 7 places are going to say no, then, or maybe you only like 1 or 2 of the places and you're banking too hard on one of those 2, you might need to continue to apply for other jobs. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask for an update if it's been a week since the last time you heard from somebody. You shouldn't have to go more than a week or so from getting some sort of update. I hope that helps something. You'd love to put Chipotle on your resume. Oh, Dana, I wish I knew what you were saying so true to. How do you get past feeling like you're not good enough for bigger roles than you are actually qualified for? I have a master's in my field, but I get nervous to apply for higher level jobs. Well, I will say do you have the work experience to back up going for those higher level jobs? I know that it's frustrating. I've done master's work. I haven't gotten a master's degree, but I've done half the coursework. We'll talk about that another time. But I will say that having a master's degree is not going to be fun to hear, but having a master's degree in a field is not really going to help you unless you have actual work experience in that field. I think once you've got, like, say, 3 years of experience under your belt in that field, and this could be different with different fields. Like, I've never worked in anything like medical or anything like that, but just in general, like, I'm best with marketing roles and stuff like that. But I think that you have to be willing to kind of take the junior roles for a couple of years, and if you have had those jobs, then, and you are qualified for it. Are you qualified by work experience, or are you Sean? Thank you so much. But I'd be curious to know a little bit more. You're working on your 3rd year of, like, practical experience. I think that you're probably inching towards that spot. And maybe that's why you're feeling, like, kind of iffy about it, is because you're reaching that, like, tricky spot where some people will hire you for that job that you want, the higher level job, because you have a master's, but other companies are not. And I understand both. So I would think of a master's degree as kind of like 2 to 4 years of experience, equate it to that. Hey, Jamie. Okay, Gabrielle says, what is the right way to ask for a raise at work? I have been with this company for 5 years, and lately I've been taking on a lot more responsibility without any extra compensation. Now that's a question. Let's see. I don't know that I can give advice on how to grow a YouTube channel. My only advice really is, it's, again, not something you'd want to hear, but it has to happen by accident. In my opinion, I've seen people do all the things that they think they need to do to grow, and that's not what I did. And in fact, I shot up to 25K and then kind of grew to 30K, and I've noticed I've been there for the past 6 months or so. But I was answering a question about the right way to ask for a raise at work. So there are a couple of ways to do this. One way that is pretty effective, it's not one that employers like to see you do, is if you get a job offer from elsewhere, and then you have, say you're making 50K, but you think you should be making 60K. If you get a job offer where they're offering you 60K, then you can go, hey, this company's offering me 60K. But I'd rather stay. But I will say that it is believed that if your company matches that, then they will eventually look for somebody else, because then they don't believe that you're invested in them. I don't know if I believe that, but for me, it is a matter. It's not whenever I've talked about money to my employer or to a prospective employer, I don't talk so much about, like, what I want and what I deserve and what I'm made of, because at the end of the day, they can be like, that's great for you, but this is our budget. What I talk about is, this is how much money I need in order to pay my bills. So, and it may be that what you're making covers your bills, but doesn't leave enough room for you to be comfortable. So, I mean, that's valid too, because, more and more employers are listening to us say that we want balance in our lives. And of course, more money can help alleviate some stress. But just straight up asking for it because you earned it, I don't think that in and of itself, I don't know if I have the best advice for asking just because you have taken on responsibilities. But I do think that if you have some sort of argument like that is like, hey, like, I love working here. I like my job. I'm glad that you've given me a chance to grow. I am concerned about my compensation and how that aligns with my life because while I'm able to pay my bills, I'm really stretching myself thin. And over the past couple of years, I've taken on more responsibility. So I wanted to come to you and talk to you about whether or not we could match that professional growth with compensation. To where everybody's happy, because I do want to stay here and I do want to be happy here. Think of your think of your employment as a relationship, especially if you've been in the workplace for over 3 or 5 years. This is a relationship. So if they hear in your voice that you might not be happy, unless you're with a company where they treat people like they're super disposable, turnover rate is super high, somehow turnover isn't super expensive to them. If you're with a decent company, they don't want to lose you and they don't want to have to go through the hiring process salary because like turnover is a bitch. So I would say if you express to your employer that you are not the happiest you could be, but you do love the company, that is probably the best combination that they want to hear. It's like being in a relationship, right? If you want to see something change and you tell or you hear from your partner, there are some things that I'd like for us to talk about, but I love you. I love you and I want to be with you. Like there's that reassurance, and then it makes you want to help find that compromise or do what your partner needs. Does that make sense? Like I hope that helps. That's a tricky one. What makes you pick a resume or a cover letter over similar ones? Honestly, with a lot of the jobs that I look at people's LinkedIn profiles. It really just comes down to your experience. That's it. I think keep it. My my resume is it's got like a personality like infused into it. Granted, I did kind of like create the template for it a long time ago, but I say like if you've got like spelling or grammar errors, that really does turn me off from a resume. So even if you're really really good, like I've got an eye for misspellings and grammar and like inconsistencies with capitalization and all that. Have somebody else look over it too and red pen it. I will say that does matter to me, is seeing that somebody's got a professional looking resume. And that does not mean that it looks fancy. It doesn't mean it has bells and whistles. It just means that everything is laid out neatly and it's done properly. Dionysus says that they love my channel and that I'm looking great in this lighting. Thank you. Do I believe in the great God? I don't know that I believe in God in the exact same way everybody else does. Nobody really does. But yes, I do believe in a God. It's complicated. Join my Patreon. We have a spirit club where we talk about it. Kelsey, I'm currently interning as a project design manager for half a year. Will my resume look better than people with a master's degree? That's a tough one. I think that's another one that really depends on the employer. Kind of like how I was saying before, some employers will look at a master's degree and really equate that to a good bit of experience, and others will say, no, you still need that practical application. So I will say that an internship is going to look more like work experience because it is. So, are you trying to decide between interning or going back to school? If it were me, I would probably stick with internships if you can get them and spend that time interning, but don't be a serial intern. You'll want to jump into some sort of junior role in that field as soon as you've had that, that internship time. A smart woman, and you respect that. Yeah, I don't know if we have any mods in here. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Jamie, are there any mods in here? Misspellings or grammars has somebody. Yeah, you need somebody to look it over. Maybe even two people. Is it normal to not know what you want to do for the next 40 years? Yes, it's entirely normal. In fact, somebody like me whose career path has really like gone like from one thing to another, it's almost like some people just kind of go with the flow and see like what next job. For me, like my long-term career has not been something that's super important to me. I just want a job where I'm happy. And affords me the life that I want. And that doesn't mean that I like travel and I shop, but like I want a cute apartment. I want to do my creative things, and I want to sing and dance and like stuff like that. Like, so it all depends on what kind of person you are. If you're somebody who's like, if you're aiming to be something, if you want to be president of the United States, like you might need to start now working towards that goal. But if you just simply don't know and you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, yeah, fucking do it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's Atticus. Hey, buddy. Atticus. Hello, I love you too. Are recruiters looking for concise resumes these days? Yeah, pretty much. Don't make it like skin and bones, but it is, we do like to just get a pretty quick snapshot. Don't fluff it up. Just tell me what you've done, what your responsibilities were, what your accomplishments were. I think a really good structure for a resume is really talking about, like, say your current job. Say you're looking for something else. You really want to list out what your major responsibilities are that are going to bring value to the next job that you're looking for, obviously. So you want that to show them that you're already doing things that they're going to want you to do. And another good thing to do with each job experience at the bottom is to maybe put a little bullet with accomplishments. So if you can say like, oh, you know, because of my blah, 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 we had a return on investment of $5 million, blah, blah, or whatever. If you can give some sort of like accomplishment, then that helps too, because then they can see like really kind of concretely what you've done to help a company. But the more, I would say probably the more you go back in time, the older the experience is, maybe make it a little bit more brief. So for instance, I worked as an associate logistics analyst. What does that mean? I don't know. That was my first job. And it was really just kind of like a fluff title. I was just a contractor, and I had no job responsibilities. And before, I would have to like come up with a job, kind of like my own job description to fill that out. But now that was 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I was like 10 to 13 years ago. So now it's okay to have one or two bullets there. Let me see. Sorry, there's a little more chat going on. Yeah, you can always switch majors. I switched schools. In fact, in art school, not that I wouldn't recommend the art school that I went to, but I went from a BFA, a Bachelor's of Fine Arts. And then when I decided to change my major, they bumped me into a master's program. So, I mean, it can be a really good thing. The theory that degrees don't have as much weight as hands-on experience nowadays, I think you need both. Like I said in my integration, that I think employers care more about your skills and their practical application than what you degreed in, what you majored in. That I entirely believe. But notice that I said what you degreed in. Deshaun, I love you. Thank you. You're just like, Deshaun's my hype person. But notice, Samantha, that I didn't say they care about practical application of skills than whether or not you went to school. I said they care about that more than what you went to school for. So you could kind of, like somebody said earlier, I went to school and I got a degree in English, but now I have a job in marketing. So I think it's important to go to school. and to get a degree if you want to be in a very professional field. But from there, as long as you've got the degree, did anybody see like a bit of smoke go by? Like, what was that? Some freaky things have been happening around here lately. But yeah, so from there, I think just having hands-on experience with whatever kind of job you want is really the way to go. You can major in philosophy, and if you want to be a marketer, like take on responsibilities like I'm going to go ahead and do this proactively. I would like to, take control of our social media if nobody's doing that or something like that. Or I'd like to help out with this. If no, I'd like to try, copywriting or copy editing. I can offer these things. And if you offer those things to your employer, it's almost like offering it for free. But it's an exchange kind of almost for the equivalent of schooling. So you kind of have to go above and beyond if you want to get credit in whatever field you're trying to move towards. Shelby says the company you work for is pressuring you to return to the office even though you are not essential business and your work can be done at home. What would you do in this situation? I would say I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. Now at the same time, if you are, I'm not saying you are, but if you're pulling a Tana Mojo or Nikita Dragon and they see you on social media and they see you like close to people all the time, then that's not going to hold weight. But I would just tell them that you're not comfortable. And honestly, Shelby, I would look for other employment because I don't think it's not okay. I feel great about this. Like nobody should be in the office if they're uncomfortable with it at all. Switch master's programs 2 weeks before it started. Trade schools are great. Yeah. We got about 20 more minutes. Now it sounds like y'all are just chatting with each other, which is okay. If I've answered your questions, that's great. No problem, Shelby. Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with trying something and not liking it. I mean, you can try to think about what you're going to want to do in theory, but in practice, it could be entirely different. Yeah, Dina or Dana, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I'm glad that everybody's helping you feel better, Beza. Dina makes a good point in that being young in the workplace really does that's a whole thing too. And it's tricky because when somebody is really green, you're in your first 3 years of like actual employment, like after school, your big girl, big boy, big person jobs. You should have a certain sense of humility. That doesn't mean like be anybody's doormat, but don't come to the table, I think, demanding too much or seeming entitled, because in those first few years, you're not just doing your job, but that company or those companies are teaching you how to be in the workplace. But once you are above a junior level of anything, then you should be able to really look at, anybody should look at their employment as a relationship. Should not be treated like you're just lucky to have that other person, and you should just be grateful to have that other person even if it's not serving you well. So I like to think of it that way. That really changed everything for me, is think of your employment as a relationship. So yeah. Yeah, if any time I think that an employer is making you feel unsafe or like you are compromising your values, your morals, or anything like that, it is time to get out of there, especially if you express this and they don't respect that. Get out. People are hiring. You can get a job, but you've got to start looking now. There you go. Ali Song gives us another example. Has an art education degree and works in technology. So yeah, I definitely like. I think having a degree is important, but what it's in, not necessarily. You've got to have certain experience, and that's really what's gonna. Like a lot of times, I don't even notice what people majored in school. Sometimes people don't even list that on their resumes or their LinkedIn profiles. Oh, Beza, I'm so glad that this helped you, that this is helping someone. Um, you can see, I'm reading this, Shelby, that you're 24. You can see that many of the older coworkers do not want press on this with the owners because they can be very harsh. However, it feels very wrong. So is that to say that the owners probably would respect that? Because I don't know. It's tough depending on where you are and what position it might put you in, because I've been in jobs where if I do try to stand up for something, I do try to blow a whistle or whatever, um, it's unprofessional and it shouldn't be done this way, but I've been pushed out of companies before. Um, but yeah, I think you gotta get out of there, and I think you need to be very vocal about why. Um Jamie's the other way. Jamie has a degree in graphic design and works in special ed. That's kind of almost like backwards for me. I went from education to marketing, and you went from marketing creative to education. That's interesting. Hey, October, we're just talking about it, career advice. Um, have I heard of companies recognizing programs such as Skillshare when recruiting employees? I'm very interested in taking courses, but I'm worried employers won't see that as legitimate. Well, first of all, if you're looking for Skillshare, please watch my video today and click the link in the description. I wouldn't, as a recruiter, I wouldn't look at somebody saying, like, I took a course in Skillshare and this is what, and so therefore you should hire me for this job. I wouldn't. But what you can do is while you are working, you can go to a platform like Skillshare and you can learn. Like, say you want to learn about SEO. Like, what is SEO? How do I like do it? What does it mean? How can I help? You have to go, you learn and then you have to implement it. And it's in implementing and putting those skills into practice and put that practice onto your resume. Does that make sense? I don't think anybody really like, in general, we don't really give a fuck about like extra classes you've done here and there. There's something called General Assembly. I don't know what all fields they work with, but they work with UX for sure. And it's tough because a lot of people will come out of General Assembly and get really good media experience. And I think it's good that people do that, but then they'll go for these higher level, these mid and senior level jobs right out of General Assembly. And it's like you still need to take some time in practical application in the workplace. And then I think that those that time in any sort of coursework will then kind of equate to years experience. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think right out the gate after you've taken a class or gotten a degree or done a program, be like, oh, well, I did that for 2 years, so that's 2 years of experience. No. But if you, I do think that that coursework and those other certifications and stuff like that will kind of then kind of look like support your amount of experience. But I recommended Skillshare to a lot of people. It sounds like are asking like, how can I kind of tweak my career path? And that's where I think it's super helpful, is where if you are in a workplace that will allow you, somebody that will allow you to take on extra work, then use a platform like Skillshare to learn more about those skills, and ask your boss if they will pay for it. Ask if your boss if they will allow you to do that coursework on the clock. The good ones will. But I am saying that as somebody who has a really fantastic employer, and I did go into this job saying I'm going to learn this on the job. So yeah, my employer would pay for Skillshare and allow me to do that on the clock, because it is part of my job. Learning is part of my job. Startup really care about mental health. Your heart is in two minds. Oh no. You're not unhappy, but you could use the money. If you really could, if you need the money, Blue, I would bring that up to your current employer, because money is not going to make up for good culture. That's one reason that I really don't want to leave my current company. I mean, I don't know that another company would pay me anymore, but having the culture that I have is it's like a gold mine. So especially when they seriously support mental health, I think everybody says they do, but you can really tell a company that genuinely does from one that doesn't. Any tips on balancing career and side hustles? Honestly, I don't know that my way of doing it is the right way to do it or what somebody else would advise, but especially when I'm busy, I have all of these notebooks everywhere. See, notebook. There's more in here. I would plan out everything. So like if I'm feeling overwhelmed and there's so much that I have to do, so much that I want to do, then I will like plan out every hour, and I will plan my downtime in there. So I will plan on like, I'm going to take a break from here to here. And then I will say like at 9:00 is when I shut down, and it's just like watch TV, get ready for bed, whatever. And that for me really helps to keep me on track. Yes, I began in education. I began in architecture at MIT, and then I transferred and got an education degree. Do you have any jobs where you'd say, oh, I'd love to do that? Number one is interior design. If I can take this and turn it into an interior design career, then I'd probably do that first. There was a time where I wanted to be a guidance counselor. That seems like, again, it's counseling. So that's why it seems fun. Let's see. Hannah, my first real agency job said I would never have gotten hired without my internship experience. My internship allowed me to use some of my time to learn skills online. Yay! Yeah. It's a good company will allow you to learn more, because you're going to become a better asset to the company, and their return on investment should be there if they're smart. And if you're doing, if you're actually bringing something meaty to the table. I've got about 10 minutes left. Oh, and they have an awkward situation at work, Rosie. I think just like Shelby, you're in a position where I think you do need to look for other positions, because you shouldn't be, that's a safety issue. And in the meantime, you can perhaps confide in somebody. You should be able to talk to somebody in your HR department, or if you don't have an HR department, you should have like a number you can call. Each company should have some sort of HR resource, human resources resource, but you should be able to confide in somebody so that you can feel safer at work. But I think that at the end of the day, you should be looking for something else. That's not okay, and I'm really sorry that that's going on. One thing you suck at is being friendly and showing a contractor around, telling them what needs to be done and negotiating contract price. I do it. I feel like a dick doing it. How do I be not telling them what needs to be done and negotiating contract prices? I mean, honestly, when you're talking about money, it's really just a matter of, you got to be cut and dry with money. Whether you're asking for it or you're trying not to spend more of it, it's a matter of, this is all we have in the budget. We need this done, and this is all we have budgeted for it. Can it be done? If not, I understand. We'll go with somebody else. It's not about being a dick. It's just, it's very cut and dry. And I think that money makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And especially I think especially women too, or female passing, or anybody who's raised female. We've kind of been conditioned to have this very people-pleasing nature, and to not ask for much and not be assertive. But I think looking at money as something cut and dry, it's either, I need this much money, or I only have this much money. That's it. That's really all it is. And it's nothing personal. I think that's what it is. I think it's people take money personally. Let's see. You'll get design videos when you move. I don't know about that, but check me out on Twitch because I've said it several times. So you probably have to look at like I talked about it, I think, in my last public live, so you can maybe watch the playback there. But I have plans of doing almost like an interior design show on Twitch, so that should be a lot of fun. Doodle works in human resources and loves it. Yeah, it seems like it would be a boring job, but like it's actually, I mean, like recruiting is within the human resources area, and it's nice. It is. It's for some people there are rules for everything. So you never really feel like you're floating and like what do I do in this situation? And a field like HR2 allows you to kind of be a resource for people, and that some people really like that. I like it. I like mentoring my candidates and giving career advice, obviously. Um, uh, New job club. Form some sort of like group chat of all the people that are trying to get out of their shitty work situations. Hey, I encourage it. Yeah, Rosie and Shelby, put with your powers combined. Who knows what kind of jobs you guys can find? That rhymed. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Just Deshaun, hype it up. I'm the best. You're the best. You gotta stop. You're so nice to do that. Sleep is so scary, guaranteed. Where was I? Asking for anything is difficult. Yeah. Taught to take up as little space as possible. It's absolutely a problem in our society and in every society, really. Then a couple of other girls also messaged her about his behavior. So isn't happy currently. Yeah, Rosie, I would be as definitely let them know how you feel. I wouldn't say to remove your emotions from the workplace. I do think that there needs to be a balance. It's kind of like when I talk about giving a YouTube apology. Let it show how you feel. If you start to tear up, that's fine, but don't go into full-on hysterics at work. But it's important to talk to somebody and let them know how you're feeling, and that person's going to get in trouble, and that's because that's just what has to happen. And especially if you love where you work and it's more likely that you will be separated from your boss, then great. Like I would say pursue that avenue if that's an option for you, where you can perhaps work under somebody else. If you work with a company that's good enough to, I keep seeing these little like smoky things pass by in front of me in the camera, and I don't like it. But yeah, if your company has the flexibility to work with you on that, then great, pursue that. But I would still stay open to other opportunities. Oh, thank you, Visa. Have I ever done freelance? I want to make videos, and it was very comfortable to work for a company because I was steady income. I've never done freelance as a full-time, no. And honestly, if my online stuff takes off enough to where I can go full-time, that will be the first time that I freelance. Oh, Sarah, thank you. Yeah, freelance, that's scary. I mean, the idea of being your own boss sounds great. But I will say, in terms of freelancing, just about every candidate that I've talked to that does freelancing for a while, they eventually get sick of it and want to go into a traditional office environment, and not feel like they're kind of always hanging in the balance, waiting for like, when's my next client coming, you know? Thank you, Shelby. That goes a lot. Honestly, Jamie, they're allowed here as long as they're friendly. I've talked about that in like Growman's podcast. As long as they're friendly, don't scare me. I've told them that. If you feel comfortable and you have to reside here, then do it, but don't get in my way. Don't let me see you, and don't scare me. Do another career advice live. Yeah, this was great. This was a whole hour and it just went like that. I would ask you guys if you have any other questions that in the title, career. That way I know to keep them organized for the next time we do something like this. But yeah, I think it's awesome to do something like this that can actually be helpful to people. So I'm kind of glad that I put that out there with the Skillshare integration today. Do, 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 do. It's because I'm packing. Ew, stop, Jamie. That's scary. Felt like tea time with friends. It was kind of like a crash course, right? In career development. Oh, Jamie, you freaked me out. Latina said, good thoughts are sending through the webverse. Thank you. I didn't see that. Jamie's like, oh no, what'd I do? I feel like we have so much in common, even though you're only 21. Oh, thank you, Sky. That's so sweet. Thank you. And I love my sobriety. No, Jamie, it's okay. It's really okay. Like, I'll tell you guys stories on Patreon about like stuff that's happened recently, and also go back and watch Girl Man's. I talked about the explanation of something that my aunt told me. There's some much creepier things that have happened here and in my life. Like, don't worry about it. I'm playing. Well, there's one thing I was going to say before I end this, though. But to throw it back to, I forgot who asked. Yeah, I welcome the friendly ones. I'm going to Savannah. I'm going to have to welcome them as long as they'll be friendly and they listen. As far if you believe in that stuff, you're more powerful than them. So that's how it works. This is not a ghost. But to throw it back to what somebody said, I do think that it's for the people who are looking to shift gears into a different role or a different career path. Then I do think it is important to get to just find a way to learn those skills, whether that is whatever platform, whether that means YouTube videos or buying books or whatever it is. But if any of you guys have enjoyed this, I don't want to plug too much, but I did. If you didn't see my video that I posted today, I did get my first sponsorship, or my first big sponsorship, and it was with Skillshare, and I'm really happy that it was with them, with such a brand that is so reputable and something that I can genuinely feel is compatible with my brand. So I would ask you to go click the link, even if you don't accept the trial. If you accept the trial and then cancel it, I think it's just a good thing to explore. And it supports me, and it just makes everybody happy. And you don't have to commit yourself to anyone. So if anything I said helped, and that's kind of the position you're in, maybe check that out to show me that you appreciate it. But either way, yeah, I think it's possible for anyone to make those shifts. And I think that's what a lot of people are exploring right now. I think you can do it. And I think if you're in a position where your workplace is not making you feel safe, definitely look after yourself first. I understand, well, a lot of us have got to have a job. So, but they're there. They're out there. You and your fiance watch me together. That's so sweet. Oh, thank you, Sarah. No, I don't. Thanks for asking. I mean, if anybody wants to know how brand deals work, it's not like an affiliate thing. An affiliate situation is one where I give you a code, and so every time you use that code, then I get a commission, right? With a brand deal, they pay you a flat fee. Which mine's not high. It's my first ever brand deal at 30K subscribers. But what it does do by clicking that link is it shows Skillshare that their return on investment is there. That Hello Leash is a YouTuber that is worth collaborating with, worth sponsoring. So it's really kind of sending the message back to the person who employed me, essentially, kind of, right? They gave me a gig. It's telling them that I did a good job, is what it does. Succulent City, I'm glad that this was helpful. Awesome. You didn't sound rude, Shelby. I didn't think that was rude at all. Don't apologize. Of course, Blue. Really hope everyone is doing well during quarantine. Yes, I agree. Everyone needs lots of love. Yeah. These are uncertain times, yes, but I at least hopefully coming from a recruiter, hearing me say that like my clients are starting to hire again. Hopefully that gives some sort of comfort that the world is, even if we're not going to get out of quarantine, the world is at least learning how to adjust. Hannah, I think you're probably gonna have to just watch the playback at this point, just because we are. I'm about 5 minutes over, so sorry that you missed the live, but I mean it should be up here soon for you to watch the playback. Thank you guys for being so sweet. Elle furiously taking notes. Got to edit your resume. Yeah, it's always good to always keep an up-to-date resume. Just keep your LinkedIn profile up to date and then just copy all that to your resume. Just always, because you never know when somebody's going to reach out to you with a job that they want you to consider. And also make sure that you're checking your freaking LinkedIn like every day or at least every week, because I reach out to people all the time that they maybe want a job and they don't ever get back to me. Sorry, Hannah. You love my chair and my outfit. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I've been starving since I was working. But I'm really glad we had this live. This was a lot of fun. And if anybody's just now coming in, yes, I'm missing a tooth here. I had to go to the dentist yesterday and they had to do an extraction and it was scary. I cried in the chair because the anesthesia wore off and I felt it. Alistair, no worries. You're always a pleasure to have, though. Okay, yeah, Beza, go to sleep. It's bedtime for you. All right, guys. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, again, please, if you'll just go click on the link in my last video, that would be super helpful. That's not why I did this, though. I want to give you guys a public live once a week if I'm only doing one video a week, if I can do that. And right now, I'm not quite moving yet, so I had the time, and so I wanted to do it. And actually, it was one of my patrons. My patrons were talking about wanting some career advice, and so that's why. So consider if you've thought about joining the community. I'm sure some people here would tell you that it's amazing. So that's why this live was born. Okay. All right, guys. Hope this was helpful. I love you guys so much. I'm the worst at outros. I'm the worst at saying goodbye. But I will talk to you guys soon. Check my P.O. box when I get the chance. Yay! I may go check it out tomorrow. I'm waiting on some glasses. So, and we're going to do a glasses try on haul once they get here. All right. Thanks, August. Thank you, Sarah. And I'll talk to some of you guys over on Discord for my patrons. I'll see you guys. Love you. Bye.